Good morning and welcome to Coach Ken in the AM. Hope you're having an awesome day as you get this one done. We are at the end of the week. It is Friday. I cannot believe this week has blown by like nobody's business. It's absolutely crazy. I've got so much on my to-do list. It's absolutely nuts. But it's also the start of the Iditarod is tomorrow. So the dogs are going to start running. So we're going to be up, going to probably go take a look at that, and we'll do some video probably live from the Iditarod. So good to see you guys this morning. Welcome in. Hope you're having an awesome morning this morning. Welcome in. I'm Coach Ken in the AM, and I want to welcome you in to the live today, and I hope y'all are having an awesome one as we get together. Tell me where you're coming in from, guys. Good to see you today as we get things started. Doing a little bit of work, cleaning some things up, getting ready for the live while we're here. Hope you're having a great and amazing day today as we get things started. Let me know where you're coming in from. I am Coach Ken in the AM, and this is my morning live. I hope you're having an awesome one. I always want to remind people, talk to the hand, all right? When we gather together, we want to just remember that. Talk to the hand. The 5 most important questions. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? And the best question ever is, what is the wise thing to do? We always have to remember that, right? That's going to be a key part of everything that we do as we go about doing our life and living. So glad that you're here today as we get things started. Got a little bit late start. Got to get a little extra sleep in, which my body's been needing. Been pushing it a lot over the last couple of years, so just needed a little break. This week I haven't been as on top of my lives as I usually am. So hope you're having a great one today. Welcome in. I am Coach Ken in the AM. So today I'm thinking about wow, interesting. Playing with AI this morning a little bit. So good morning, welcome in. I'm Coach Ken in the AM. Let me know where you're coming in from. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. We are at the start. The weekend is the start of the Iditarod. Welcome in, folks. Coach Ken in the AM, and I hope you're having an awesome one. And as you get started, talk to the hand. I want to give you guidelines. If you don't do anything else today, just take this from you. These are the 5 most important questions for your health that you need to be thinking about. How are you eating? This is just for self-reflection. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? And the best question ever is, what is the wise thing to do? If you can remember those and just remember to talk to the hand, let that be a guide and reflection as you are on your health journey, particularly with the signs of insulin resistance and just in general. Doesn't matter how old you are. Insulin resistance is no respecter of ages. We have kids under the age of 6 that have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Our teenagers are now 1 in 3 have prediabetes. That's the exact same numbers that adults have in the United States of America. And that's actually showing up now around the world. So if you're a diabetic and metabolically unhealthy, that's reflected in 50% of the population are diabetics or pre-diabetics. And that's not a respecter of any nation. And once we start talking a little bit about nutrition, look, people will say, "Oh, well, in the East countries where they eat rice all the time, they're not overweight." You don't have to be overweight to be diabetic. They are not the same, because we find that in China, Japan, and India, 50% of the population are diabetic and pre-diabetic. So the issues of insulin resistance is no respecter whatsoever of where you live and what's going on in your life. So welcome in. Let me know where you're coming in from. I am Coach Ken in the AM. And look, if anytime there's a big problem, we need to have a big solution. And what I'm here to help with today is helping to provide that solution. All right. And I find that it's a big issue across the board. So let me know where you're coming in from. I am Coach Ken up in Alaska, and it's Coach Ken in the AM. Give me a hi, give me a hello. Where y'all at? Tell me who's here in the room. Would love to hear where folks are coming in from. I don't know how much farther I'm going to go with you guys not even saying anything. So it's been crazy. I'll just leave it on here, and you guys let me know if you want to talk. I don't know where my crew is. We shall see. So let me know where you're coming in from. I'm Coach Ken in the AM. Good morning, folks. Hope you all are having a great morning today. As you come in, remember this. I want you to give you just something to go with today. This is absolutely free. These are the 5 best questions for your health. How are you eating? This is self-reflection, folks, and sometimes self-reflection can be hard. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? What are your supplements? How are you encouraging people? And how are you elevating yourself and making yourself better? The most important question is, what is the wise thing to do? Not, hey man, what's the right thing to do or what's the wrong thing to do? It's what's the wise thing to do. Hey, you can eat those Oreos. You can eat the whole bag of Oreos, or the wise thing, eat your meal and put Oreos as dessert, which is where it belongs, right? Because every time you're eating, your blood sugar spikes and your insulin increases. When that insulin increases, this is something that people are not talking about. When that insulin increases, you have high insulin, your fat storage is high. And as long as your fat storage is high, you cannot lose any weight. You cannot reverse insulin resistance. Your cells are resistant to the amount of insulin that's now pumping out in your body. So we want to bring our blood sugar low so our insulin will come low. When that happens, we start to reverse the things right there. And we don't get the facts many times as that when the pancreas is making insulin because you're eating, your pancreas can't make glucagon. And if your pancreas can't make glucagon, then they never get the signal that you ought to be releasing that for energy, right? It's not calories in, calories out. It's about your whole body, all right? It's about understanding how nutrition works and that we're eating the right things in the right order. So, welcome in, folks. I'm Coach Ken in the AM. When I was diagnosed with diabetes back in 2023, I didn't really think that much of it. I didn't think I was that big, but yet I was 50 pounds overweight. The doctor was saying, hey, dude, you are knocking on obesity. My wife, who is a doctor, a dentist, called a friend because she was diagnosed with prediabetes the very next month. And the friend said, look, doc, she was a diabetes educator as well. There is a natural solution. Hey, West Coast Cali Radio, good morning. Good to see you this morning. West Coast Cali, I'm guessing you're down in California. Welcome in. Glad that you're here. Where in California are you at? You're just down the road, an hour ahead of me. I'm up here in Anchorage, Alaska, so welcome in. So that nurse said, hey, doc, you need to go to the PDR.net. The PDR.net is this incredible book that tells people exactly what's going on with medications. It's this very same book that your doctor uses to write prescriptions. So we started to use that, and we started to use that protocol. Within the first couple of weeks, my wife, in February, began to reverse her neuropathy and fibromyalgia. She started to lose weight. She started to get more energy. And suddenly everything was different for her. Now, I was sitting there still trying to be stubborn. What my doctor said, eat less, move more. I tried to follow what my wife was doing, but it was so hard to do the intermittent fasting, to fight the cravings, to stop snacking all the time. How many of y'all struggle with snacking? Anybody in here? If you struggle because you're a snacker, type a 1 in the comment, right? I couldn't stop. I crave stuff all the time. There's still times to do that. Got a cure for Brad? I do, because that's one of the things that I dealt with. When I talk about insulin resistance, absolutely. I'll pull this back up over here. If you're sick of the gout, it has everything to do with insulin resistance. The uric acid that's built up in your liver has got to get cleaned out. So it's not just about the symptoms, which tart cherry juice helps with the symptoms, but it doesn't clean out the gout. I was dealing with gout when I moved to Alaska. I started dealing with gout. The cold weather, all right, contributed to that more than anything. I thought it had to do a lot with diet. And, there was things that I would avoid eating because, it increased uric acid. The problem that I learned was with insulin resistance, it builds up in the liver. So one of the things that helps the liver more than anything to clean out, if you will, is something called chlorogenic acid. Now, for me, I started the protocol that we did is called the Feel Great system. And I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but if you're on here, this is the tea. This is Unimate. It comes in a packet like this right here. This has got 375 times the chlorogenic acid of anything else on the market. I started doing with this, I started drinking it every day. Within the first 2 weeks, which I was having neuropathy as well on top of the gout, I had one bout of gout after I started doing this. And because I want people to know, what happened was that was the last of the uric acid because it's built up in the liver. This cleans the liver. That's what chlorogenic acid will do. So basically that whole filtering system, it got it all out. I have not, in 2 years now, I've had no signs of either neuropathy or gout. I've not had any issues with it whatever, which mine was really sucked because it was like the toe next to my big toe is where, it was awful. People are always like, well, it's in your big toe. And I actually had my doctor argued with me when I first had gout. She was like, it happens in the big toe. I was like, it happens everywhere. Chlorogenic acid, yes, it is a polyphenol. Chlorogenic acid is a polyphenol. It's found in plants. You can get it in coffee and green tea. You can also get it in yerba mate, which is a tea that is made... it happens in any joint. My doctor was so frustrating. There were some things she was good at, and there were some things she was not. This clearly was one of those that she was not. Also, diabetes, which she was not good in either. And anything related to insulin resistance, chronic disease for her was like most doctors, we're just going to medicate it. That was her approach to everything. To my wife, she just gave her 4 meds and said, take these. Which my wife, being a doctor, was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So chlorogenic acid, the Unimate. The other part of it was the neuropathy, which is a B12 deficiency. So the Feel Great system works that we do 1 tea in the morning and then 1 fiber packet as you go about before you have every meal that you have. Now, you can, if you like, I can get you a link for that. It goes best together to help with insulin resistance and all of the signs. And if you have one sign, you probably have more than one. So that's a huge, huge impact on our overall health. And we do it, and like I said, I have a discount on it. We do our coaching, and we put this out here as part of what we do to help people on that. But yeah, definitely, gout happens with any joint, and I get a lot of people on here that ask about this. And if you suffer from gout, I've not come up with anything better as far as that goes. Tart cherry juice will help with the symptom, but it doesn't clean out the liver. And chlorogenic acid, because it's natural, it comes in the plants. You can get it in plants. It's where you find it the most. Coffees, green teas, and yerba mate are the places that do it. Allopurinol, how's that working for you? Like I said, I have not had any issues after 3 years of suffering from it. I have no issues with gout whatsoever anymore, and I don't take anything. That's the thing. Everything here is all natural. The chlorogenic acid also helps with. It is a vascular dilator. It stimulates your body's GLP-1. It works, but I still watch red meat. See, I have complete food freedom. I eat red meat. I have the freedom to eat everything that I want to eat. I used to have food allergies until I got metabolically healthy. I couldn't eat cow's milk products, I couldn't eat eggs, and I couldn't eat peanut butter. I don't drink alcohol. Actually, now I do. I don't drink a lot. I quit drinking it completely when I got diagnosed with gout, particularly beer. But now, like I said, I coach as a nutrition coach about food freedom. That to me is the thing that is more important than anything else. I don't live looking at, what I look at now is I look at foods that I don't want to eat and I just don't eat them. But I also know what to eat and when to eat because of meal order, meal sequencing. I know what works for me. If you're insulin resistant, the thing about alcohol, it's a carbohydrate. And anytime you have carbohydrates, your body absorbs that as sugar. Your blood sugar spikes and your insulin increases. So all of those things are happening. That doesn't happen with red meat. With those proteins, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen with healthy fats. Right? It happens with carbohydrates that your blood sugar spikes and your insulin increases. And that's been the game changer. Like I said, I drink it every single day. And I make sure that I have fiber before every single thing that I eat. All right. So that has been the most important thing that I would say that I have found. Let's see. I am going to... Yeah, if you'd like some more information, I will let you know. So I'll put my link up on the screen. If you want to grab this real quick, you may want to grab a screenshot. The Feel Greats, this is my link to this. There is when you order this, it is $159. You get us as coaches. Like I said, we get on the phone and I'll talk to you about doing this. Everything about what you're dealing with. You get both my wife and I. We are coaches. My wife is a doctor. I'm a nutrition coach. And this gives you the best discount that you can get on the Feel Great system. So if you want to grab that screenshot, my phone number is there as well. So if you got any more questions, once you go over to the website and check it out, you can see that there as well. All right. I want to make sure that you get a chance to do that. So let me jump into something here real quick. I haven't done this in a while. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're dealing with. And we're talking about something that is a huge, huge problem, right, with insulin resistance. 93% of Americans aren't metabolically healthy. Now, that's a big thing because, look, when you're driving down the street and you pass 10 cars, those numbers show that 9 out of 10 of those drivers are sick. Maybe it's this way. If you think about maybe you have your kids. You got your kids are in school. And if you're in a class of 100 kids and 93 kids are failing the class, do you think it's the teacher's issue or do you think it's the kids' issue? Who are you going to blame for that? We've got a problem. Now, I want you to understand every single one of these. I want you to know. So this is endocrinology and metabolism. This is in 2022. All right. This is between 88 and 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy. So what is metabolic syndrome then? If we're metabolically unhealthy, that means that you have at least three of these to have metabolic syndrome. But if you have one, you are metabolically not healthy. And so what are these? So low HDL cholesterol, that is below 40 for men, below 50 for women. You have high fasting blood sugar, that's over 100. All right. You have a large waist circumference that's greater than 40 in men and greater than 35 in women. You have high triglycerides greater than 150, or you have a high blood pressure greater than 130 over 85. I can tell you mine was 145 over 93 when I started the Feel Great system and I started dealing with this. But there's a lot of other signs that you're going to get before. One of those being that gout, right? The tingling in the hands or the feet or the chronic pain, fibromyalgia. All right. How is it going to affect you? It's going to affect us in all of these different ways. So understanding what is happening with that insulin resistance is key. And not having those conversations with your doctor because they're going to give you a pill for every ill. It looks a little bit like this. Maybe you have seen this, or if not you, it's someone you know that is in a pharma loop. All right, the doctor starts, number one medication in the world is a statin, atorvastatin for high cholesterol. Number one prescribed medication. Number two is metformin for prediabetes. Those two hand in hand are the two most prescribed medications in the world. And they typically start with one of those or the other one. You have high blood pressure, lisinopril, and then that leads to neuropathy. Because you're on metformin, it strips your body of your B vitamins. All right? Acid reflux, because you're on all these medications. Okay? In addition to that, you start to get anxiety and depression because you've got side effects. Maybe you're a man. You've got low testosterone. All right? You've got dealing with erectile dysfunction. You're dealing with the low blood sugar every single day. You're having food cravings. You get depressed. It's frustrating because there's no answers. And you look in the medicine cabinet and you're taking 4 medications, then 6 medications, then 10 medications. All right? And that gets us into this pharma loop. And the doctor's not helping. And it leads to this frustration is that root cause of insulin resistance. That root cause of insulin resistance that your doctor is not talking about. We deal with each and every one of these issues, but the doctor doesn't ever talk about what's at the root cause of this. All these things that you're dealing with, high blood pressure, how many of you, that's something you're dealing with. Sarcopenia, all right, your muscles are, all right, breaking down. Erectile dysfunction, Alzheimer's, type 3 diabetes, arthritis, fatty liver disease, PCOS, childhood obesity, all right, non-alcoholic fatty liver, periodontal disease, dementia, migraines, obesity, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, all trace back to insulin resistance. Here's the crazy part about it. This isn't new. All right, Dr. Joseph Kraft, back in the early 70s, wrote a book called The Diabetes Epidemic in You. He said if you're diagnosed with heart disease, which is the #1 killer in the world, then guess what? You are just not been diagnosed with diabetes yet. Dr. Benjamin Bickman's picked up on that in Why We Get Sick, and he talks about the very issue of insulin resistance. Now, what does that even look like? So the normal person, all right, you're dealing with insulin resistance. All right, a normal person, your insulin is going to unlock the cell, allowing all the sugar to get in. All right, that sugar gets in there, your body's going to use it for energy the way that it should. It goes to your brain, your liver, your muscles. But when you're insulin resistant, that cell is already full of insulin. The sugar cannot get in. It is blocking it. They are full. Your body dumps then that insulin and the blood sugar into the body. Rather than being stored in fat cells for energy or burned up, they're just in the bloodstream because the cells need insulin to put the energy into the cell. And the more that it's full and it keeps storing all the time, because what's happening is, and again, we're not talking about this issue, insulin made in the pancreas is storing everything. When insulin is high, you store it. When insulin is low and glucagon is high, you release it. We are caught in this every single time. And why? Why are we caught in this dilemma? Well, it goes back to something that happened back in 1963. In 1963, how many of y'all recognize this guy right here? In 1963, Camel Cigarettes and J.R. Reynolds bought their first food company, Hawaiian Punch. What they learned was if they took one thing out of their food, if they took fiber out of the food, it would last longer on the shelf. Not only that, it would increase and make it faster for the sugar to be absorbed into your bloodstream. So in nature, bread comes packaged in fiber. Rice comes packaged in fiber. Apples are packaged in pectin. We'll drink apple juice thinking we're getting all the nutrients, but what we're not getting is we're not getting the fiber. Even in nature, sugar comes packaged in fiber. All right? And every time that we are eating, our body's going to spike insulin levels. So carbohydrates increase insulin more than your proteins and your fats. And so we are in this constant dilemma all the time that we are blood sugar increase, insulin increase, blood sugar, insulin, blood sugar, insulin, blood sugar, insulin. And we can't get out of it. We cannot get out of it. It is just consistently wearing us out. Guys, I'm Coach Ken in the AM. Welcome in. Thank y'all for being here. Those of y'all that have been with me this morning, I hope y'all are having an awesome one. It is, I guess everybody is really busy on this Friday morning. Hope y'all are having a great day today as we're going through talking about insulin resistance and those 5 things that we have got to do. And so we know how to eat. All right, that is the important thing. How do we eat? We eat in a particular order. To reverse the signs of insulin resistance, it's not hard. It's no crazy diets. This is so very important. It's about our hormones. It's about helping our body to adjust with what we're doing. Rather than eating sugar all day, all right, what we do is we start to change the order we eat. We start with fiber, fats, and proteins rather than carbohydrates. Now, I can show you my graph about that and how that works, but here's what we want to know, is that fiber is the carbohydrates that slows your blood sugar absorption. So if you start with a salad rather than the bread, that right there will be the single biggest thing that you can change in your diet when you eat that can change everything about your health. You change that one thing. I mean, here's what happened. I mean, we'll look at this. We'll look at the pictures. The pictures, what do we say? That one picture is worth 1,000 words. That's not the one I wanted. This picture right here is worth 1,000 words right there. Not to shame anybody, because what happened between 1960 to 1920 or 2026, what we started doing was we put carbohydrates on the top of our plate. We started with those carbohydrates. We started to demonize whole food. We started to make it so that we would eat everything from a bag and a box and a barcode, and we would change everything. When I said 1963. Look at the date. 1963 was the year that Camel Cigarettes and J.R. Reynolds bought their first food company. 1963. We just looked at that. I want you to look it up. You don't believe me, go look it up. All right? This is not hard, folks. I mean, it is simple. It's not easy. But that's one of the reasons that we coach and I do this and we talk about the Feel Great system, because it reinforces good nutrition habits in a way that nothing else on the market does. We look at one of the things that does it because it does it more than anything else, better than anything else that there is available to us today. And if we'll change some certain things, you don't even have to order it. All right? You don't have to do it if you'll listen to what I'm telling you. If you're game for that. Because what's working? I'm asking, this is an honest root cause for all the things that we're facing in our world. Insulin resistance is making us sick. You're dealing with gout. We've just talked about Brad. I don't know if you're still here. You're dealing with gout. Why would you sit there and you want to look into it? Then, okay, fine, look into it. But what are you doing that's working better? It's not. What you're doing is not. And what it's doing is restricting you. You're dealing with obesity. You've tried every diet on the world. How is the GLP-1 medications making you feel? Is it great? Great. Then you're good. Okay, no, you're really not. It's a Band-Aid. It's not helping anything. That GLP-1 agonist is not really your body's GLP-1. And if you were on my live earlier, you got to hear from Lindsay Venn. It's going to increase when you stop taking that, and most people within 2 years are going to stop a GLP-1. Over 80% of people that start on a GLP-1 medication will be off of it in 2 years, and all of the weight comes back. Less the muscle mass. How about your blood pressure? Is the medication working? Is it bringing it down? Or are you having to increase the medications? That's what was happening with me. I had hypertension. I had it for nearly 20 years. How about acid reflux? What are you doing? How's it helping? Is your doctor telling you that proton pump inhibitors are causing your diabetes? Did your doctor even say that? Mine didn't. I was on it for 20 years. Then I was diagnosed with diabetes. Insulin resistance is the #1 cause of the chronic conditions that we are facing in our world today. There is nothing like it, and no one is talking about it, and people don't want to talk about it, right? When we look at it, the root cause of today's struggles are right here. It's not hard. We may want to run away from it. You may not want to talk about it. But if you're dealing with the signs here, you're dealing with the root cause of the biggest health struggle that we are facing in the world today. I lost my wife from colon cancer. My first wife I lost from colon cancer. You want to know the #1 leading reason why colon cancer has been on the increase? It's because of processed foods and because we're not getting fiber in our diet. If I'd have known about this product, we would have been on it. People ask me all the time, would you teach this to your kids? My kids are adult kids, and if I'd have known that this had been on the market for 30 years and that there was a solution to insulin resistance that was all natural, yeah, we would have been on it. And we would have been eating in the correct order. I talked to my daughter this last week. Everything that I teach right now, I didn't have to teach her. She figured it out and learned on her own. She got an education. She already had one, but she learned. She came to understand what was going on in her body, right? So we are dealing with these issues. Skin tags. How many of y'all are sick of the skin tags? You're dealing with the skin tags. So when I sit there and say, talk to the hand, all right, we're talking about what are the 5 most important questions that you could ask. I try to make this as simple as I can. If you are dealing with any of these signs up here and you are dealing with pre-diabetes, diabetes, or somebody you know, you're dealing with insulin resistance. It is killing us. Over 50% of us are dealing with diabetes and pre-diabetes. And today, our teenagers are dealing with it now more than ever. And right there makes me sick. When I heard that this past summer, I worked with teenagers for 10 years. Still work with teenagers, but not like I used to. 1 in 3. That has never been the case. How many of y'all think that's just been the case it's always been? That, see, this is the problem. This is not how we were supposed to be. And the problem has to do with something so innocent that we don't really want to talk about it. But it's in our modern diet dilemma. How many meals a day were you taught to eat? Put in the comment, how many meals a day were you taught to eat? Was it 3 or was it 6? How many meals a day were you taught to eat? Type in the comment, was it 3 or was it 6? Just type the number. How many meals a day? And you were told, I suspect, that it increased your metabolism, right? When you ate that, it would increase your metabolism. Whereas what they didn't tell you was actually it's the opposite. When you stop eating all day, that you increase your metabolism. Why? Because now your glucose is being released from your fat cells, because glucagon is telling your cells to release it. And it changes every part about this journey. See, because fiber is that carbohydrate that will help you more than anything when it comes to breaking down and slowing down digestion and telling your body to make more GLP-1. So here's the thing. So when we look at how we eat in the correct order, all right, this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take these off the screen real quick. All right. We look at this. Flip my camera around. So when we're eating in the right order, we're talking about our meal sequence. All right. When we eat correctly, we eat fiber, proteins, healthy fats. All right. In the GI tract, in your small intestines, your body is going to make more GLP-1. That signals to the brain that you're full. But if you're like most of us, look at the plate. What do we start with first? We start with the French fries. We start with the carbohydrates in a standard American diet. We go from the carbs to the fats to the proteins to the fibers, if we eat any fiber at all. We have such a limited amount of fiber that we get. We should be eating between 25 and 30 grams. In the US, we only eat about 10. And so what happens is the pancreas releases elevated insulin, and that disrupts your GLP-1 response from your gut. You never know when you're full. This is why when you finish eating a meal, you feel like you need to eat another one 3 hours later. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I thought it was my fault too. I was there, right? I was 200 pounds, right? That was me right here. I didn't want to go out on the beach. I wasn't going to take my shirt off either. I didn't want to go out there and look at that. I was 200 pounds overweight. I had the dad bod. I thought that was just what was supposed to happen. It's not. It's not. So, what we do is we change the order that we eat. That's as simple as it is. Fiber, fats, and proteins. We eat in that order, 30, 60, 90. And then we eat 2 meals a day. 2 meals a day. We eat within a 16 to 18 hour window. And we just stop snacking. And it doesn't have to do it like right now. You can. It's not like Jesus. We're not going out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, right? We're just stopping snacking. We're going to stop eating everything in a bag and a box with a barcode. It's making you sick. It made me sick. It makes us sick. We stop doing that. That brings our insulin levels down. And when our insulin is low, the fat will go. When insulin is low, glucagon will tell the cells, take it out and go. Let's burn it. Let's burn it. It's not about calories in, calories out. Your body is not a calculator. Right? You got to remember this. Your body's not a calculator. Your body is looking for nutrition. Your body is looking to be healthy. Welcome in, folks. I'm Coach Ken in the AM up here in Anchorage, Alaska. So remember this. Talk to the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? Look, the muscles are, let's talk about exercising. Your muscles are the #1 biggest sponge in the body for glucose. #1. So if you were to take a walk 10 minutes after a meal, if you were to move for 10 minutes after a meal, take a simple walk, go walk the dog, all right? Go do some setups. Maybe you don't want to do that, but just take a walk. Walk up and down the stairs in your house. Walk around for 10 minutes. That will force the glucose into the muscles. That will start to absorb. 1 minute of walking is going to help drop your blood sugar numbers by 1 point. Just look, if you've got a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, watch and see what happens. Use that as an experiment. So how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? The extra that we use is the Feel Great system. All right? Each and every day, I drink 1 tea and I make sure that I have the fiber. Right there has been the biggest game changer. If you've been on here, you've seen me drink this. All right? This helps to lower your blood sugar levels. The tea will help with your brain fog. It's going to increase your body's GLP-1. It helps, just like metformin, that #2 medication for blood sugar levels. Right here. It's right here in this. In addition to that is the fiber that you're missing, that gets it on the go, is right here. This increases your body's GLP-1 if you're dealing with neuropathy, fibromyalgia, right here. All right? So those 2 things right there, those are the extras that I have. Now, I also recommend looking into magnesium. If you're not on a magnesium, you need to realize that's one of the biggest minerals that we're not getting in our body daily, is magnesium. We've got to get magnesium in there. Vitamin D3 and K2. Those 3 vitamins all go hand in hand, and they absorb better with each other, better than anything. Those are the ones. If you're dealing with diabetes, if you're dealing with insulin resistance, you're dealing with neuropathy, you have a B12 deficiency, your body will accept that B12 faster because of the complex that's in here than anything else. All right? This is a game changer to get that in there. I don't have neuropathy anymore. I have reversed my diabetes. I have reversed my heart disease. My migraines are gone. I'm talking serious crap, y'all. You're talking to somebody that is a cancer survivor, a stroke survivor, a diabetes survivor. If you don't think I don't take my health seriously, then you need to go somewhere else, right? If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you don't have to stay that way. And this is modern nutrition science at its best right now. This is one of the best times. There's more conversation, more information than we've ever had. That's why I work with people that are vegan and vegetarian to carnivore to keto. I work with people across the spectrum. Because when you understand and learn how to eat correctly, it won't make a difference. I have a preferred way to eat it, but I know people have convictions, so I'm good with that. I work with that. So how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? And if you're not addressing what you're putting in extra, then you need to think about this. I'm going to challenge you with something right here. I want you to take a small notebook, or if you've got something to chart with, write down everything that you put in your pie hole the rest of the day. Put down everything that you put in your pie hole the rest of the day. Okay? And do that for a week. I don't want you to measure how much it is, but I want you to pay attention to how much you are putting in here. How many times are you putting things up here? Is it liquid calories in the form of sodas? Anything like that? But let me know. Put it in there. Actually, you don't need to let me know. You need to know. You need to know. All right? So, who are you encouraging? I want to encourage you on your health. I don't want you to get like I was. I don't want you to get like Dr. G and I were. I want you to do this now. As the teenagers that come in here, you need to do this now. Don't wait. Don't wait. It's a game changer right here. Learning how to do that. Don't wait on this. Do it now. And experiment with it. I mean, I'm not asking you to do some weird diet. I'm not asking you to give anything up particularly. It's simply meal order. Fiber, fats, and proteins. Start your meals with fiber. If you don't have the fiber, start with protein. If you need the fiber, I've got you. I got you covered right here. That's what this is. You just mix it in with water. You got that before your meal. All right? You get the fiber that you need. You get the proteins. You get the fats that you need. Change the order that you eat. Here's one. You go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And here's one that'll be really good. This will be super easy. You go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, I can't eat fried chicken. Why? Start with the coleslaw. You're going to get the good night. Coleslaw. Why? Fiber. You're going to start with the coleslaw. Then you have your protein. Then, as you're eating the coleslaw, the protein, then you have your mashed potatoes and your roll. Start with the fiber and the protein. Start with the fiber and protein. That right there will change, even with it being a fried food. All right, that's going to help you. I mean, this is how. Oh, God, y'all don't care. I get it. It cracks me up. So that's it. You want to do it in the simplest way possible. Try it. If you think I'm nuts, that's totally fine. But the reality of it is, I'm healthy. I'm metabolically healthy. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. So, game change right there. So, the next thing we want to do is, who are you encouraging? Which is what I'm trying to do, is encourage people to live right. And then how are you elevating? How are you improving? How are you moving forward? Those things right there. Thank y'all so much for being here. This live has pretty much gone to the tank, so it's all good. I hope y'all have an awesome one. I don't think anybody's on here right now. So I hope you have a great one. We'll talk to you later.